I'm Rita Mainborg. I'm incoming chair of the Society of Benchers. Welcome to our 61st annual meeting. I graduated from law school in 1981. I know I look much younger than that. And it's hard to believe that so many years have passed since my law school days. It's great to see all of you here this evening to celebrate the law school and its distinguished alumni and friends. To begin our program today, I'd like to present the law school's dean, Paul Rose. Before joining our law school, Dean Rose held the J. Gilbert Reese Chair in Contract Law and served as Associate Dean at The Ohio State University Moritz College of Law. Please join me in welcoming Dean Paul Rose to the Case Western Reserve School of Law. And there will be a video.
Along with most legal academics, I started as a lawyer. I worked for Covington and Burling in San Francisco. I went to UCLA Law, and so I'm originally from Southern California. And I actually went to law school with the idea of becoming a professor, hoping one day to become a corporate law professor. And I practiced in corporate and securities law for a firm in San Francisco for about 4 years. I went to Northwestern for a couple of years, where I was the visiting assistant professor in securities and finance. And then after that, I transitioned to my first full-time position at Ohio State. And I was there for 17 years in a variety of roles, and the last few years as associate dean. What are the core goals that I would pursue as a new dean? What I wanted to focus on was really the basics of what we're doing here at the law school, which is really getting the very best students we can, so admissions, helping those students to prepare for and pass the bar exam, and then finally careers. And if you can think about that, that's the ABCs of a law school. It's admissions, bar exam, and careers, and that's really what we're going to be focused on. It's a little bit of a kind of back to basics view, but I think that that's how we're going to continue to gather momentum and strength as a law school. So the Society of Benchers, I've learned, is a really elite organization, really hard to get into, also made up of folks who are really committed to the success of the law school. So I've learned that it's obviously great to be a part of, myself quite an honor to be a part of, but also I feel like it's really a resource for the school to rely on just as they think about helping our students and really preparing our future benchers for legal practice and for leadership. What you see when you look at the group is just the diversity of things that they've done and accomplished. So, you know, we have folks in business, we have folks in more traditional areas of the law, and of course we have faculty. So it's a great breadth of strength that they're going to be bringing to this organization. For the Society of Benchers, for the people that are part of this class, you feel like you are part of this continuing legacy. And again, what I would hope is that you're not just looking backward at the fantastic folks that have been part of the Society of Benchers, but you're thinking, okay, now this is a moment where I can think about how to pay it forward and what I can do to help mentor, to guide future benchers.
Thank you, Rita. And I feel like they put the entire interview in that clip. It seemed to go on for quite a while. But I'm really grateful to be here with you tonight as we celebrate our 61st annual Society of Benchers induction ceremony. This is such a wonderful occasion. I'm so pleased to join you all here tonight. And I just want to share a few things before we get to tonight's Bencher inductees. There's a lot to celebrate about the law school. I'd, of course, be remiss if I didn't thank my predecessors, Dean Berg, Dean Scharf. They have been so helpful to me as I've transitioned into this role, really supportive, and have really made me feel welcome. They've shared their expertise and their guidance in my first few months here on campus. I want to share a little bit about our 1L class, which will be the class of 2027. So we have 191 first-year JD students at Case. We have 159 full-time in-person students and 32 online part-time students. The median LSAT for our in-person class was 160. For our online class was 161. The median GPA for our in-person students is 3.7 and 3.62 for our online students. So a really accomplished group of young women and men. The class is 54% women. 31% our students are underrepresented minority students. The class is composed of 58% students from outside of Ohio, and they come from 28 states and 5 foreign countries. In the 1L class, we have 96 undergraduate programs represented. International students make up 4% of the class. 8% of our students are first-gen college students. 35% are first generation in a graduate program of any kind. In appreciation of many of you here tonight, the School of Law has had one of its best fundraising years in its long history. Our attainment for the year was $11.6 million, which was a 50% increase from the previous year, with our cash into the school of nearly $9 million for the fiscal year just ended 2024. We're so grateful for the generosity of our donors, our alumni, and the legal community throughout Northeast Ohio. Our faculty, which is really one of the things that I was most excited about coming up 71 from Ohio State, I knew of the faculty's excellence, and that's really shown in metrics that other academics produce to try to evaluate how strong faculties are. Our faculty has earned recognition consistently as one of the top 50 law schools in the nation for faculty scholarly impact. There was a survey that was just produced this summer, and it ranks our faculty 43rd in the country, which is a testament to the exceptional contributions of their scholarship. Our mock trial and moot court teams have had an incredible year of success. In March, our Black Law Students Association mock trial team won the national championship. Please, yes, by all means. That was in the Constance Baker Motley mock trial competition in Houston. Our Jessup International Law moot court team won the Western National Competition in Portland, Oregon this past spring, earning a berth in the World Championship rounds for the 5th year in a row. Reflecting on this extraordinary run of mock trial and moot court success, Pre-Law Magazine recently gave our school an A grade in trial advocacy and litigation and ranked it number 10 in the nation in practical training. So again, that just shows our leadership, which has really long been a mark of Case Western in experiential education. Of course, we're also leaders in health law, business law, international law. All of those are nationally recognized for their excellence. I'm so proud to be part of this community, and I look forward to getting to know more of you as we continue to grow our law school. So now, I would like to introduce our presenter, Mike Benza. Mike joined the faculty in 1998 as an adjunct. He became full-time in 2005. He's an alum from the class of 1992. And he is a double case grad, undergraduate degree from the university as well. He's an expert on death penalty issues and has been quoted numerous times by local and national media. He continues to represent death row inmates and litigate capital cases in state and federal courts and federal habeas proceedings, and has also argued before the United States Supreme Court. And I find this really the most amazing thing about Professor Benza. He has won the Student Bar Association's Professor of the Year Award 7 times. This evening, Mike will announce the Student Award winner for 2024. While the Society of Benchers Award has been given to a graduating student for many years, Thanks to your generous and continued support, we were able to endow this award and provide an annual prize. So thank you, and with that, please welcome Professor Mike Benza.
So I guess I have to update my bio because I think it's actually like 14 times. But it's because I bring donuts to class just before they vote. So, all right, so what we're going to be doing this evening is introducing our student award winner and inducting our new members. I'm honored as the secretary of the society to be the person who does this. I took the job because they told me I didn't have to do anything, and then they said, oh, except this. So unfortunately, over the last year, we've lost two of our distinguished members and our friends, the Honorable Lillian Green, class of 74, and the Honorable Ronald Suster, class of 67. So I would invite you all, please, to have a moment of silence in memory of our lost colleagues. Thank you. So our program includes a superior slate of exemplary members of our legal community. Most of you probably know those members and the inductees just because you are also part of the legal community here in Cleveland and around the country. These inductees practice at the highest levels of both practice and the academic side of the law. So I'm going to take a brief intermission for us to enjoy dinner, and then I get to come up and do the rest of the program. So I hope you have finished your salads, because now it's time for the real food. Okay? All right, so please enjoy your dinners. All right, everybody almost done with your meals? Okay. All right, so we're going to begin the formal part of the program. And so as we begin, of course, our first order of business is to announce the student award winner. The members of the Society of the Benchers decided back in 1973 to establish this award founded on the principles, and this is why we are lawyers and get paid lots of money, on the principles of cum studius tum moribus principis, which means leaders in both studies and way of life. Why do we do it that way? Because we charge per Latin phrase. If we said it in English, everybody would understand what we said, and what's the value in that? So we have decided to present this award to a member of each graduating class who has achieved academic distinction and set an example of honor and dignity for others to follow. The award is given out at the commencement ceremonies in the spring, but we also bring the student here to recognize them in front of the Society of the Benchers. If you come to the law school, which I encourage all of you to do, it's right across the way in case you get lost, right over there. It looks pretty much the same. There is actually a placard that contains the names of all of the students who have been awarded the Benchers Award. It's in the lower rotunda, and you can come and see all of the students who have achieved this honor. Our 2024 winner is Antonio Misick. Antonio is an incoming associate at Jones Day. She's still enjoying her time off after post-bar relief. She is planning to join the business and tort litigation practice. At the School of Law, she was the online executive editor of the Law Review, a legal writing teaching assistant in her second and third years, and an avid member of the mock trial team. She was also a student of mine in several classes. That don't hold her against her. Outside of the law school, Antonio is a member of the Geauga Faith Rescue Mission, a nonprofit organization dedicated to opening the first emergency women's shelter in Chardon, Ohio. Congratulations, Tony. Please come up.
I am so thankful for the Society of Ventures for choosing me for this award. Since I was a teenager, my love for both learning and the law made it my dream to become an attorney. And over these last 3 years at Case Western, that dream has finally started to become true. In that time, I learned under the guidance of so many brilliant legal minds, many of whom are sitting here today. These professors taught me to challenge my beliefs, to stand up for what I believe in, and helped me to achieve more than I ever believed possible. I am so blessed and privileged to join such an impactful profession, with the caveat that I'm still waiting for my bar results. But to me, this award signifies so much more than my own achievement, but rather the sacrifice and support that I have received from so many amazing people in my life, my friends, my family, and my mentors. They are what made a day like today possible for me. Thank you, and thank you to the Society of Ventures.
All right, it is now time to introduce this year's inductees to the Society of Ventures. Each year, the Society inducts new members chosen based on an extraordinary dedication to the highest principles of the legal profession and commitment to the community. The Society also admits distinguished members of the Case Western Reserve University School of Law faculty and distinguished community leaders who are not graduates of the law school, but have taken a strong and proactive interest in the furtherance of the legal profession, legal education, the community, as well as a particular interest and attention and affection for our law school. The inductees' full bios can be found in your printed program, but we are going to present a short bio and a short video of each of our inductees. Inductees, when I call your name, I will read the little blurb that they tell me I'm supposed to say for you, and then I might add some other things. We will then play the video. At the conclusion of your video, please come forward to be recognized. Our first inductee is Lawrence Appleson, class of 1982. Before retiring earlier this year, Larry was a partner at Frost Zelnick Law Firm in New York City.
I started at Case in the fall of '79. Being in University Circle was something that really attracted me. I'm a big orchestra lover. I attended Cleveland Orchestra concerts throughout my time at Case, and I also used to study across the street at the Botanical Garden, not at the Art Museum, but the Botanical Garden had a great garden, and I was then a big gardener, and I still am today. At that time, I had not really dealt with my sexual orientation. So there was someone at the university who helped me a lot. In addition to my friends, I started talking to my friends. The school had a counselor who helped me. It was a real relief coming to that acceptance. It was something that I really resisted. But once it was there, it was so natural. It was sort of like giving up the chemical engineering and wanting to go into law. It really was a wonderful experience for me to be at Case when I was going through that. And I thought it was a nurturing environment for that. Jim Henson Company was a client. It was a client of the firm going way back. And in 1990, I started to work with them. They were a riot to work with. I would laugh through these meetings so hard. They always had the kookiest things. They were a wonderful client. So they did a video where they created a Lawrence Eli applesauce puppet in my office.
I am so glad that you're applying to replace me as outside trademark counsel to the Jim Henson Company. I mean, I would hate for that lovely group of folks to be without reliable advice once I retire. Now, shall we go through some basics?
Oh, Larry, la, la, la. Pass it on.
I got the job, right? Ah, I take it back! Ah, I'm not retiring. I couldn't possibly. Colleagues, I'm sorry. Ah, I take it all back. I'll be in the office first thing Monday morning.
When I saw that, I was so taken aback and so highly complimented and thankful that they would do something like that. It was really a treat. I really am deeply honored. I really don't think I deserve it and don't know where this came from, but I am honored with this, and I'm really happy to remain part of the community. I love Cleveland. It's the love of Cleveland, but it's also love of the university, and most importantly, the people that were associated with it when I was there, and to the extent I have relationships with people there now, the ongoing, the wonderful people that really make up the university.
Congratulations, Larry, and welcome to the society. We did receive a call from the new managing partner. You're expected in the office on Monday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next inductee this evening is James Bildner, class of 1979. James is the CEO of Draper Richards Kaplan Foundation.
I came to the law school with an intention to hone my skills to be in public service and was super focused on that. And as a matter of fact, after my first year at the law school, I became Howard Metzenbaum's issue director on his Senate campaign. And when he won, I went to Washington with him, and I became his speechwriter for nearly 2 years. And that experience was transformational for me. He was an amazing man and an incredible icon who cared only about working people in the state of Ohio. And I had the privilege of writing nearly every word he spoke for that 2-year period of time, which just furthered my commitment to public service. And the law school, when I came back, was just a great opportunity to hone all those skills. And, I was lucky enough to be there at a time when legends like Lou Katz were there. And so, my memory of the school was an ability to essentially allow me to develop skills which have served me for the rest of my life. From law school, after my time with Howard, I ran for state assembly in New Jersey and narrowly lost. But again, it was the continuation of that commitment to public service, and then was in the private sector. So in my current role as CEO of Draper Richards Kaplan, I'm reminded every day about the urgency of the time we live in. This job that I currently hold is the best job I've ever had in my life. And we're reminded every day that though the world is full of challenges, a human being can make an enormous difference in the lives of others. And in fact, our portfolio of 243 companies is directly impacting nearly 400 million lives, all of whom are vulnerable populations across the world. And as you can see, this is what impact really looks like in life. Yes, I was honored to be included in the benches, particularly because I am sure I am atypical. I'm not a judge, I'm not a practicing attorney. I didn't work for a conventional firm. And I think more than ever, it's vital that the legal community showcase people with different careers and opportunities. The message I have for the legal community as I look forward is really not for the legal community. If there's nothing clearer than this idea that we are all connected, doesn't matter what you're doing, the externalities and the polarizations and the fragility of institutions today make us all participants. This is not a time to be on the sidelines. Everybody has to actively participate if we want to preserve this democracy that we have.
Unfortunately, Jim was unable to be with us in person, but we do welcome him into the society. Up next is our faculty member, Jennifer Kupar, class of 1998. Jennifer is the director of the Legal Writing, Leadership, Experiential Learning, Advocacy, and Professional, and professor of lawyering skills. For those of you who don't know what the legal writing, leadership, experiential, it was called RAW back when we were there. Ugh. So anyway, Jen is the professor and the director of our legal writing program, having returned to us a few years ago after losing her mind and taking a job in a different sector. So please play Jennifer's video.
My name is Jennifer Kupar, and I'm a 1998 graduate of the law school. I knew about Case and heard about Case my whole life. My dad's a 66 graduate of the law school. I thought about going to law school when I was little, but decided I wanted to teach. So I got an elementary education degree from Miami University. Spent a year teaching 5th grade and decided maybe law school wasn't such a bad idea after all. So I applied, looked at a bunch of schools, but fell in love with this place pretty much the minute I set foot in the building and on campus, and loved being in University Circle and all of that. To be honest, I was one of those people who didn't know what I was going to do with my law degree. It was something that had always intrigued me. I loved, arguing and analyzing things, and knew that I'd enjoy the 3 years here. After my first year of law school, I loved my legal writing class. So I actually told my professor at the end of the year, this is what I want to do when I graduate. And it kind of married my 2 degrees, my law degree and my undergrad teaching degree. And so that's how I ended up back here teaching. I just, it's a perfect fit for me. Just the gratitude I feel toward the law school is the thing I'd want them to know. This place has just meant so much to me. From the minute I started as a law student, it's where I met my best friends, where I met my husband, where I met people who, changed my life for the better. And I just feel so incredibly fortunate that I get to come in every day and be a part of students' lives who are starting out in their career, and watching them grow and mature and trying to figure out ways to be creative and teaching and keeping them engaged. It's something that I love, and I will be forever grateful to the school that it gave me the opportunity to do something that I enjoy doing so much.
Congratulations, Jen. Please come forward and welcome to the society. Next, we welcome Timothy F. Geis, class of 1984. Timothy is a trustee of the John F. and Mary A. Geis Foundation.
I'm a trustee of a family foundation. That's something my parents set up and funded, so I take no credit for it. I just write the checks. So I get a lot of thanks that I don't, it's really undeserved, including this honor. So most of our funding goes overseas to groups working with extremely poor people, helping them increase their income or gain access to water, sanitation, hygiene. And in one case, we fund an organization in Honduras that's focused on justice, helping disenfranchised people get justice. And I don't recall how exactly what our work came to the attention of Michael Scharf, but it must have, and he proposed that we fund a program called the Yemen Accountability Project at the law school, which we funded, I think, now for 6 years. There's always going to be some need for this kind of work in the world, unfortunately. Michael may have started something that will be part of the law school for a long time to come. So that's definitely I'd say a benefit of this program is that some young lawyers are being launched into the world with a passion and some experience in this area. And even if this particular project never brings anybody to justice, maybe their careers will. I want to thank the Society for this honor. I feel very undeserving. As it happens, I heard a sermon this week by Tim Keller about grace, which he defined as unmerited favor. So someone under no obligation to give gives to someone who's done nothing to earn it or deserve it. Of course, he was talking about God offering forgiveness and eternal life to undeserving humans. God is under no obligation to give it, and we've done nothing, can do nothing to earn it or deserve it. That's the way I feel about joining the Society of Benchers. I don't think I've done anything to deserve it, so all I can do is say thank you, and it's a great honor to be included among a group of colleagues who have done things to deserve it.
Unfortunately, Tim was also unable to join us this evening, but we do also welcome him into the society. It is my pleasure. You can clap. It's okay. It is my pleasure to introduce our next inductee, Jeff Herman. Class of 1985. I am dreading the day when I start inducting people that are decades after my graduation. I'll be like Rita. Jeff is the founder of the Herman Law Firm.
I got to Case because it was a place I literally always wanted to go to law school. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, and had always heard great things about Case. Went to college out west, but wanted to come back home to Ohio to go to law school, which I did. And I was fortunate enough to be able to attend a Case Law School, and I think I had a great experience there. When I look back on my days in law school, what I think is most important for me is the foundation I got there, and the perspective of being able to kind of think critically and learn to be prepared. One of the other, I think, really influential things about law school at Case for me was meeting Professor Henry King. And he was one of the lawyers in the Nuremberg trials. And what I took from that was how important it was in the ability to use the law for good. And I always, in my career after leaving law school, had thought about, wow, how great that was. He was able to do good with the law, and for a good cause. And the way my career developed, I was initially a commercial litigator, and honestly wasn't particularly fulfilling. And then in 1997, one day, someone referred to me a woman whose 4-year-old autistic son was sexually molested at a preschool. And there weren't lawyers that specialized in this. And of course, in law school, there's no major, you don't know about this. But as I said, I knew how to think critically, and I had a good foundation, and the case really interested me. And I said to this woman, let me look into this. The story was horrific. And so I took that case on, and it literally changed my life. It was so rewarding in so many ways that I decided to dedicate my career to representing kids who had been molested. And that's how it started for me. And the practice has grown substantially. I have about 50 lawyers now across the country that work at my firm. And I feel very blessed to be able to focus on this area because it reminds me of, what I learned in law school from Professor King, being able to use the law for good. And, it is rewarding.
Congratulations, Jeff, and welcome to the society. Congratulations. Great work. Thank you. Our next inductee is Kelly Grigsby Jones, class of 1995. Kelly is a partner at Perez Morris Law Firm in Columbus, Ohio.
I'm attorney Kelly Grigsby Jones. When I graduated law school in 1995, my classmates would know me as Kelly Grigsby, and I studied here at Case Western from 1992 through 95, and it was a wonderful experience. I remember my final exam, second semester, third year, my dad asking whether it was all worth it, and I said it was challenging, it was hard, but it was intellectually stimulating, and I absolutely got what I expected out of it. I looked around at a lot of different schools, and my plan literally was, I wanted to be here until law school was finished, so I needed to be comfortable in that space for at least 3 years. It was pretty, it was aesthetic, the buildings were nice, the garden looked lovely, and then the people were my folks. I mean, these are all Northeast Ohio folks, and I grew up here. I've had marvelous mentors, Professor Enton, bless his heart, I struggled with administrative law, but he was a really great mentor to me as well. I think most importantly was when I took classes from Bill Leatherberry, but he taught insurance law. It resonated with me, and I ended up taking a second class from him in insurance law, and that's the nature of my litigation practice now, is that I do a lot of insurance and defense practice work. To be asked to be part of any group here at the law school, I feel very honored. Any ways that I can assist has been my desire, because there were people along the way who helped me as well. And I realized that kind of connection, that kind of mentorship, that kind of face of the university is imperative. It's why your students want to come to Case Western. It's why the students stay at Case Western. It's why professors want to come and be part of the faculty here at Case Western. And honestly, it's why I like to walk around and kind of do a little brag about, yeah, I went to Case Western Reserve University School of Law. It has its cachet when I walk around. And so just being invited to get back into this space and an opportunity to join such a venerable group of alumni and other supporters of the university is my pleasure, especially for new lawyers or for our, incoming, students here at the law school. I think it's important to understand you're allowed to make your own path. I think you're allowed to still be proud of your work, and you don't have to be part of the same clique. But some of those groups, some of those organizations, some of those people are watching, and your time will come. I appreciate having an opportunity to be elevated to such a noble group as the Society of Benchers.
Congratulations, Kelly, and welcome to the Society of Benchers.
Thank you so much.
Ready? Next is Stephen S. Kaufman, class of 1975. Steve is of counsel at UB Greensfelder Law Firm in Cleveland. I did not know this until just this evening. UB is our own Omer and Byrne, which recently merged with the Greensfelder Law Firm, hence UB Greensfelder.
Got to Case because I decided to go to law school after changing my career idea from international relations. I narrowed it down to 3 schools, but decided I really wanted to be in an urban setting. And 2 of the 3 were in urban settings, New York and Cleveland. New York was where I grew up, That was a rat race. I wasn't going there. So I decided I would go to Case after I considered my grandfather's advice. When I was about 12 years old, he sat me down and he said, I want to tell you one thing, young man, never go to Cleveland. It's a horrible place. I had a horrible experience there. So when I'm at that decision point, and I said to myself, do I ignore him and follow my judgment, or do I listen to him? I said, maybe he doesn't know what the way Cleveland is today. And that turned out to be good, so I'm here. I got here in 1972, brand new building. And I walked into this building, brand new, and I said, this is serious. I'm into a serious profession here. This is no longer, philosophy and religion. So I got excited, and I said, I'm on to a new stage of life. Moot court convinced me that I could do what I do and did for my career. I made the team. It was the first year they had second-year law students on the national team, and our team won first place in the regionals. We went on to the nationals, and we were very successful. Moot court night was the first night my late wife met my parents. They came in for that. And if it wasn't for the moot court experience on top of the debating, I'm not sure I would have had the confidence to do what I did. I never tried a case as second chair. The very first trial I ever had, the law firm I went to right after the clerkship, I was there for about 2 years, they had a criminal case and they said, here, take this. I never handled any case. And I tried that case by myself, picked a jury, won, and I never looked back. I was first chair all the way through after that. And that's how I became known, and that's how I developed the business in Cleveland, because I was a first chair guy and would go in and would be very forceful in the case. And that's ironically how I got John Glenn as a client. And he became a lifelong friend. I represented him on any number of matters. I was an advisor to him in the Senate on a variety of political and judicial matters. It was a long-standing friendship and relationship with John Glenn. Got a call about the benchers and the fact that I was going to get in from most recent Dean Scharf. And I was, as I told him, so humbled by it because, first of all, there are some great lawyers that have come out of Case and my class. And to be recognized this way, to have somebody look at what I've done, the collection of my life, and say it's meritorious of this designation, means the world to me. And it's where I started, and it feels incredible to come back and get that recognition. That means a great deal to me.
Congratulations, Steve.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Our next inductee is Charles R. Kowal, class of 1978. Before retiring, Charles was a tax partner at Ernst & Young in Atlanta, Georgia.
I grew up in Richmond Heights, Ohio, which is a small suburb outside of Cleveland. And for me, it was kind of a dream to go to Case Western Reserve because I'd heard about it my entire life. It was really the recognized university of the city. Certainly, I have fond memories of being at law school and of the people there. It's like so many other things that in life, the people that you associate with and you come in contact with leave indelible marks on your past, your future, your present. I was one of those folks that was, as you probably heard this from so many more people than me, Leon Gabinet, who I will put in the legend category, left his mark on me like he did on so many of the other law students at Case Western Reserve. And he really made my desire to go to tax evolve. We've had a lot of wonderful people that have come through Case Western Reserve. All of them don't practice what people think of as tax. Many of them go on to be business people. They don't always practice law, or they may practice an element of law and become great business people. But to me, that is such a rewarding aspect of my association with Case Western Reserve, is getting to know so many people and bringing so many of those people into my world where they could thrive and then possibly move on to even bigger and better things. I've always been focused on giving back. And so I established scholarships at funds at both Case Western Reserve Law School and my undergraduate school to focus on first generation college students. In law school, I let the deans decide where the money should go and where they think it's needed. But I would encourage alumni to think about the role that the law school played in their life and their career, and to consider paying it back. Because we all, I mean, for me, I'm very proud that I went to Case Western Reserve Law School. And I think we want to keep that alive. But that takes funding. It takes good people. It's going to take us going out and trying to, if we have family members, younger people in our families or acquaintances that are thinking about possibly going to law school, we should be encouraging them to go to Case Western Reserve. But I would lean back on your life's experiences and the role that the university played in your development and your future and your success, and take it to students that way, and also to think about giving back from a monetary perspective.
Congratulations, Charlie, and welcome to the society.
Fix me. I need fixing.
Congratulations, Charlie. It is amazing to me how many stories start with, well, there was this one professor, Leon Gabinet, who made tax sexy. I don't know how he did it. Our next inductee is our public member, Mark Kramer. Mark is the founder, board chair, and former managing director of Foundation Strategy Group.
Hi, I'm Mark Kramer, and I grew up in Cleveland. I didn't actually go to Case. My mother actually graduated from Case in the 1940s. At the time, it was the Flora Mather College for Women. Case hadn't yet become co-ed. And for the last 25 years or so, my mother, while she was alive, and I and my kids through our charitable foundation have really been friends of Case and have been deeply involved in supporting and expanding the law clinic over those many years. When my father passed away in the early 1980s, and I myself had gone to law school in Philadelphia, we wanted to figure out a way to commemorate him, memorialize him in Cleveland with a major, prominent, reputable institution. But our foundation also had very strong values about helping people in need. And we realized that the law clinic really accomplished both. It trained lawyers for the future, but it also provided immediate benefits to people who couldn't afford their own representation. And so we began talking with the law school about what we could do to endow and expand the clinic. Well, we were fortunate that it was exactly that time that Case was drawing up plans for its new law school building, which we now think of as the primary building. And so we were able to endow the clinic in memory of my father and help design the clinic offices to be prominently displayed when you enter the law school, and to be designed really like a small law firm, so that people, even those who could not afford representation, would be accorded the dignity and respect of being treated as if they were true paying clients at a small law firm. Really to see how what started out as a pretty modest gift to endow a pretty modest program has really become an important part of the law school. And when my mother passed away at 101 in 2021, we decided to make additional gifts to the clinic and to rename it not just in memory of my father, but in memory of both of my parents. And it is really one of the contributions and organizations in Cleveland that we are most proud of having been a part of. So to me, it feels like a great honor and recognition to have that relationship memorialized by becoming a member of the Bencher Society, along with some of Cleveland's most prominent attorneys and judges.
Mark was unable to attend with us in person, but we also welcome him into the society. Next up is Nancy Marcus, class of 1997. Nancy is an associate professor at California Western School of Law in San Diego.
I think I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer. I did have a hard choice to make between music and the law, but I ended up choosing the law. I was very civil rights oriented. I immediately got the support that I needed, including from my professors at Case Western, to let me know that it was just a great fit for me. There were so many opportunities within the city of Cleveland while I was a law student. And even after I left Cleveland and left the Midwest, I've continued to get just incredible support from my mentors among my past professors at Case Western, who really made my career successful because of their support. So my career path has had all kinds of fun twists and turns. It's not that there is such a thing as a typical legal career, but I went to DC basically to try to save the world. I did a lot of policy work in DC. I was the state public policy director for the National Abortion Federation for a couple of years. I worked for the National Trial Lawyers Association, fought for President Clinton's judicial nominees on Capitol Hill. And eventually, what I learned from DC after 5 years was I wasn't using enough of the intellectual abilities that I had honed in law school, and I wanted to be more of a critical thinker and speak what I thought was the truth about matters. And I realized what I wanted more than anything was to be a legal academic, was to actually become a law professor. I loved watching my law professors at Case Western. They clearly really loved what they were doing. They were passionate about that law. And that passion really stuck with me over the years. So I ended up going back to law school, getting my second and third law degrees at University of Wisconsin. In record time, I got my LLM and SJD in 2 years flat, which had never been done before. And my dissertation was on basically predicting same-sex marriage 10 years before it happened. My dissertation work was used by some litigation groups in their impact litigation to argue that there was a constitutional right to same-sex marriage. And then I ended up working with those same groups as a named legal lawyer for a few years. So I've always been involved in policy work on, really important cutting edge policy issues, but also very much wanting to use my legal skills as a litigator. So I've always brought theory and practice kind of to the table together. And so I have been a professor over the years, but I've also been an impact litigator, fighting for not just LGBT rights, but also other social justice issues. I'm so honored to be inducted to the Bencher Society, and absolutely tickled. Sometimes this country's too big, and I feel now that I'm in California, I'm so far away from Ohio, and I miss everybody there, and I miss Case Western. Shout out and huge thanks to my former professors for, to all of my former classmates and all of the members of the Case Western community who continue to make it such a great law school to be proud to be a part of.
Congratulations, Nancy, and welcome to the society. Our next inductee this evening is Karen Grieve Milton, class of 1981. Karen is a senior consultant at Donosky and Associates, LLC.
When John Corey called me to tell me I was being inducted into Benchers, I have to say I asked him if he had the right Karen Milton. And he laughed, but I've had a public service career, and it's rare I think that educational institutions, honor or look, public service careers. And I'm very, very grateful that Case Western took a chance on me. And because of the scholarship, I was able to pursue a public service career, which I would not have been able to do if I was coming out of law school and college before that with lots of loans. So I was very lucky. My second summer out of Case, I interned in the United States Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C., and worked on what were then the Abscam cases, which were one of the first FBI stings into political corruption. And that was, talk about a fabulous summer, as an intern, getting to meet the United States Attorney, Chuck Ruff, getting to meet the Attorney General, Benjamin Civiletti. And that job, that internship helped me get a position in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office when Robert Morgenthau was the district attorney. And that was the start. And I then was able to work in a variety of other state and local investigative agencies after leaving the district attorney's office. Took a bit of a turn when I became the first continuing legal education director for the Association of the Bar of the City of New York. And that job led me to get to know federal judges and federal lawyers, judges in the federal courts and lawyers who practiced in the federal courts, which led me to become the circuit executive for the Second Circuit. But this career would never have been possible without Case Western Reserve. And I'm very proud to be a Case Western Reserve alum. And I'm very proud of the school that it has this initiative to raise $20 million to fund scholarships so that anyone who applies to Case Western Reserve Law School and needs financial assistance will have that opportunity. And it's just, you never know who's going to be the next great lawyer. But most important of all, who's going to be the next great public servant? And public service is important. And if we don't encourage students, college students, law students to go into public service, if we make it so expensive that they can't do that, we are really going to be missing an opportunity in this country. So I'm proud of Case, and I'm really honored to be invited into the Society of Benchers. I'm also still stunned, can't believe it's happening, but very grateful and very honored and very privileged to be a Case Western Reserve graduate and to now be invited into the Society of Benchers.
Congratulations, Karen, and welcome to the Benchers. Congratulations. Next up is Jacqueline Nance, class of 1992. Jackie is the president of Philanthropic Solutions.
I actually ended up at Case. It's kind of funny. It was one of those things where my dad taught at the dental school, and so I was exposed to Case at a very early age. I was developing x-rays in the dental school at 4 years old. So I have a long history with Case. And when I wanted to go to college, I knew I wanted to go to Spelman, and my dad said, okay, well then you'll go to grad school at Case. So for anyone who knows my origin story with Case Western Reserve, it really starts with my father. And so my ability when I was asked to join the board was an opportunity to continue his legacy. Going to Case Law School, having him nearby, being able to walk to my grandmother's and sit and eat pizza with her when I needed to get out of the law school. Those were all part of my Case experience, but serving on the board has given me that chance for me to give back to the institution that led to the career, that led to the love of my life, that led to being able to help people like my children. And so I am grateful to CASE for all those things. So the PIN is for Autism Speaks and autism awareness and autism acceptance. I have 2 adult children on the spectrum. You know, you always in life want to do things that speak to you. And working with Autism Speaks and trying to make a difference in the world for all people with autism is my labor of love. I was overwhelmed when I was called and said, we want you to be in the Society of Benchers, to be acknowledged for the work that I'm doing on behalf of our community and our society is something I never could have even imagined, and it warms my heart and fills my soul.
Unfortunately, Jackie was not able to attend this evening, but we do welcome her to the society. Next up is Mr. James Willis, class of 1952. James is the senior partner at Willis & Watson Law. For those of you who follow criminal cases in Northeast Ohio, everywhere else, there probably hasn't been a major criminal trial that Jim hasn't been a part of. I've known of Jim and known Jim for my entire career in criminal defense. He is truly a lion of the criminal defense community.
Over my lifetime, I've tried a lot of very interesting cases. I represented Licavoli in the Danny Green murder case. I represented Shonda Burns when he was considered public enemy #1. I got one of his convictions reversed and got him out of the federal penitentiary. That I take is an honor. I've argued in the United States Supreme Court personally 4 cases. I won 3 of them, but in all I've had about 6 cases that certiorari has been granted. I take those things to be honors. I did go to Western Reserve Law School, and at one time I was the national president of the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. I was the first black president elected to that organization, and incidentally they have a black president now. And I fraternized with some of the best lawyers that ever lived, and I'm proud of that fact. And I have one of my major remembrances that I get when I think about the Supreme Court. I was arguing a case that I lost 5-4. While arguing, I had said that the right of self-defense, and it was a self-defense case, is as old as man himself. And that, so far as I'm concerned, the Constitution talks about it indirectly because it says we have, in its preamble, the right to the pursuit of happiness. How are you going to pursue happiness if you can't defend yourself? So I was interrupted by Justice Stevens, who told me, he said, Mr. Willis, I read that argument in your briefs, and I can't find any support for it. In all the cases, I had my people trying to look back through all the cases to see if there's any support for that argument. And this is, I think, is my best example of repartee that I have ever come up with. I told him, I said, well, Mr. Justice, if you say that there's no authority out there for my position, then I accept it. On the other hand, if I'm to be blamed for calling that to the attention of the Supreme Court, then so be it. Everybody in the courtroom let out a roar. The marshal almost fell out of his seat laughing. He said, how did that brother come up with that one? So I had a good time. I had a very good time doing whatever it is that I do.
Congratulations, Jim. You can have a seat. No, it's me. You can go sit down. Okay, you're done.
thanks.
You're done. You're done. So that concludes the inductee portion of tonight's program. Thank you to those members of the society who took time to submit your recommendations. Look for the next email coming soon to say what's next year's slate. Congratulations to our newest members. One note, when we are done with these proceedings, if the inductees could please come to the front for a group class photo, that would be appreciated. I do want to say that this year's group reflects the ideals of the society in that it reflects the best of the legal community. One of the things that we as professors do constantly is talk with our baby lawyers about where their lives might go. And many of them come to law school of, I want to do this or I want to do that. And what we talk with them about is that the practice of law is so much more. It doesn't mean doing what you see on TV as the only way to be a lawyer. That it is being in charge of foundations, that it is representing people that the world doesn't like, that it is shepherding a business through its development and growth. It is, in fact, in defending or prosecuting criminal or civil cases, regulatory cases. Those are the things that lawyers do. And this group reflects the best of those things. So congratulations to our new inductees. Congratulations to all of the members of the society. So before we adjourn for the night, we do have to take a moment to recognize our officers. Many of them were involved, well, all of them were involved, in shepherding us through this last year to bring us to this event this evening. Our outgoing vice chair and our new chair is Rita Mainberg, class of 1981. Rita was inducted into the Society of Benchers in 2013. She retired earlier this year from Tucker Ellis Law Firm, where she was a partner. She has become a highly acclaimed leader in her profession and her volunteer efforts, and we are grateful for her leadership. Rita, please stand. In case they forgot who you were. Thank you, Rita, for all you do. Our outgoing treasurer and vice chair is Melanie Shakarian, class of 2003. Melanie is the Director of Development and Communication at the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland. She has been an incredible alumni leader for many years. Melanie, please stand. Thank you for all you do. We are pleased to announce that our new member, who has no idea what he's getting himself into, is Jay Shapiro, class of 1980. Jay will be joining the officers as our incoming treasurer. Before retiring in 2022, Jay was a partner at Wright and Williams Law Firm in New York City. He also serves on the Law Alumni Association Board and has been engaged in alumni leader for many, many years. Jay brings his many talents to the Office of Benchers, and we know that he'll do a great job in this new role. Jay, please stand. And finally, the evening would not be complete without us recognizing our outgoing chair, Colleen Batchelor, class of 1998. Unfortunately, Colleen could not join us this evening. She is the Senior Vice President in External Affairs and General Counsel at Hormel Foods, probably why she couldn't be here tonight. In this role, she oversees the organizational global, legal, and external affairs function. She is also a member of the CWRU Board of Trustees. We are grateful for Colleen's leadership and her support as the officer in Benchers. Even though she could not be here, we will recognize her and we will send her a small token of our appreciation. Thank you, Colleen.
So we certainly can't end the evening without thanking Mike for his great work on the induction and role as secretary of the Society of Benchers Board. Mike is integral to the strong foundation of faculty excellence at the law school, and we very much appreciate his knowledge and expertise in his role as secretary. He thankfully will continue this role moving forward. And those of us who are the officers know that Mike is really the mover and the shaker. And this isn't in the written remarks, but I really want us to thank Cheryl Lauderdale for everything she does for us. Is she back there? So we would not have had this wonderful night without Cheryl. So as we adjourn this evening, I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. As I look around the room, I am proud and humbled to be in the presence of such distinguished leadership and impressed with the level of talent, expertise, and commitment that you have brought to our profession. Our law school is poised to make a lasting impact on the next generation of leaders, some of whom will join us as esteemed members of the Society of Benchers in the years to come. I hope you will join me in engaging with and giving back to our law school to support this ongoing effort. I look forward to seeing you at next year's event and maybe even at some events before then. Our new treasurer has some ideas about that. So have a wonderful evening. You are now discharged.